Sagittarius, welcome. I'm pulling a spread tonight for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I have to apologize. My dog came over and knocked over the camera, and so I had to delete, or I'm going to start the video over basically. So I've already pulled the cards for you, Sagittarius. Luckily, I had just started looking at the cards and interpreting them, so we didn't really miss much. But I'm not going to pull the cards again because I feel like these are pretty solid cards. So I'm just going to start the video after I've already pulled the cards, so you don't get to see me shuffling and pulling the cards. But rest assured, I did do that. I didn't pick these out on my own, and we'll pull clarifiers to clarify the cards. But what I'm seeing here, so we pulled a spread for love and relationships. So sometimes the love section isn't always about a love or romance. It's more about relationships, career, and then soul and spiritual ascension issues. So I pulled the first spread with the Fairy Tarot. So let's just look at these. So in your love section, we have the Eight of Spring, which is the Eight of Cups. I'm sorry, the Eight of Wands. Renewal, which would be Judgment in a traditional tarot deck, and the Chariot. I love this Chariot card. I'll show it. Hopefully you can see it pretty clearly. It's just so cool looking with the dragonflies pulling the chariot and the fairy, all the wings, so much movement and joy and positivity in this card. I really like the illustration on this card. And the text on the card says, success that comes from dedication and self-discipline, celebrating your accomplishments, being in the spotlight. So this is in your relationship sector. And what I'm seeing here is a lot of activity in relationships. So it feels like a real new energy has been recently brought into your relationship, your primary relationship, your romantic relationship, and where maybe you had a little bit of conflict in the recent past. You've really done a great job of moving beyond that, Sagittarius, and letting bygones be bygones and not judging yourself and not judging your partner. And you're now moving forward in union together. Your will, your mind, your intellect, your emotions are all in balance. Your mind, body, action, all in balance, so you can move forward. So let's pull some clarifiers on, on romance and see what we get. What's with the Eight of Wands? What was going on? What was all that communication about recently? Eight of Wands. Clarify that Eight of Wands for us, please, Spirit. Eight of Wands. What's the Eight of Wands about? Yeah, the Ace of Coins and the Three of Cups. So recently, a lot of communications. Maybe you received a gift, financial stability, joy, celebrations. I see a lot of activity around family and friends and many blessings that you've been lucky to have recently. What's renewal about, Spirit? What's renewal about? Seven of Cups. So there was some kind of confusion, yeah, and you've done a really good job of moving past that confusion and communicating with your partner and forgiving and forgetting and moving on. Of course, we never forget, but we take the lessons that we learned and we move on. What's the Chariot about? Oh, and we move on to the Chariot. What's the Chariot about? Clarify the Chariot, please, for us, Spirit. Queen of Coins. So this is really, I'm just really getting a sense, Sagittarius, for you that that recently, and the recent past and right now, and a little bit more into the future as well, you're just focusing a lot on your home and your family and creating this really happy, joyful, blissful home life for yourself. So maybe this the social distancing that we've had to do is actually, you're one of the signs that this has really been a positive for. You've really enjoyed this this time. I think that that kind of calls through in the career area too, because we've got the Ten of Cups, the Three of Swords. So you're going from the Ten of Cups energy to the Three of Swords energy, and then you're going to go back into the Queen of Wands energy. And I think what's happening for you is you have really enjoyed this time at home, working from home, being with your family. This has been a really good, positive experience for you, Sagittarius. And now that you are faced with the prospect of having maybe to go back into the office, work traditionally again, it's causing a little bit of conflict for you. You're not happy about that. You're worried about it. But you're going to be able to work this out. You're moving into that Queen of Wands energy, and the Queen of Wands is very talented. She makes things happen. She's able to maintain a really appropriate work-life balance. I think that's where your focus is going to be, on figuring out how to start the transition back into traditional work-life situation. It's a little hard because it's summer, so the kids are home, but I really feel like you're worried about it, but you're going to be able to figure out a way to balance that. Let's get a clarifier on the Ten of Cups, please. Clarifier on the Ten of Cups, please, Spirit. Yeah, Three of Coins. So you've been working from home, and it's been really, really a positive experience for you. And the Three of Wands coming out for you as well. So you have really enjoyed being able to work from home. I'm really getting that strongly for you, Sagittarius. The Three of Coins and the Three of Wands coming out together in your work career realm is a really strong indication that you are completely aligned in your new situation. Everything is in balance. Your mind, your emotions, your will, and your action, they're all in balance to move forward and create for yourself really tangible success, tangible work life, and also you're able to project this newfound serenity and energy into the future. Maybe you got some ideas working from home. You're like, hey, I can figure out how to do this. And I think you're working on a plan, on a way to maybe work from home more. Clarifying the Three of Swords, we have the Seven of Swords. So you're feeling like a little bit of futility. What's that Seven of Swords about in the Three of Swords? What's that Seven of Swords and the Three of Swords about? Please clarify that for me. Please clarify the Three of Swords for me, Spirit. What's that about? Okay, so there's a little bit of conflict coming in external to you, which is causing you, you're not sure how to handle this. You're not sure what's going to happen. I've got the Five of Wands and the King of Wands. So maybe this is your boss giving you a hard time about working from home. There's a little bit of conflict in your work life coming into you, or that you're experiencing right now. If you're not experiencing it now, you will be soon. It's going to make you feel like, what's the point? What's the point? I work so hard. I do so well. What's the point if they're not going to if they're not going to try to accommodate my needs as well. The thing to remember about this situation and what I'm getting from here, both from the Five of Wands and from the Seven of Swords, is that even though you're feeling thwarted and you're feeling like nothing is going your way, it's really not as big of a deal as you think it is. It's the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords really isn't. It's with these clarifiers, it's not that bad. I think that you're blowing it out of proportion a little bit more than you need to. And I think if you open conversation, have conversation about the situation, you'll be able to resolve it, because you do move into the Queen of Wands energy. The Queen of Wands speaks her mind. She lays things out as they are. She's a supportive role. She's not really the one that calls the final shots, but she is able to manipulate situations, and manipulate's probably not the right word, but she's able to maneuver situations to everyone's advantage. So let's get a clarifier on that Queen of Wands, please. Queen of Wands. What's Queen of Wands about, please, Spirit? Okay, we got three clarifiers here. We've got the Five of Coins, the Nine of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. So yeah, so this is talking about, again, we've got the fives, the Five of Wands and the Five of Coins, and those are conflict cards, but in this deck, they are, they're not that bad. Okay, so they're more worry and self-doubt is what these cards talk more about. You've got the Nine of Wands energy, which is telling you to persist. So if there's something that you're trying to go for, keep at it. You've got the Knight of Swords energy clarifying the Queen of Wands. So these are just clarifying this Queen of Wands energy right here. And the Queen of Wands is, as I said, she's able to assess the situation and come up with a solution. And with the Knight of Swords clarifying that as well, I think that you're really going to be able to come up with a proposal and a new option for you in terms of work that's going to give everybody a win-win situation, and you'll be able to create balance in your life. You'll be able to make some kind of compromise, figure something out about how to maintain your work-life balance. Maybe you'll work from home a few days a week instead of every day out of the week. But you, in the Knight of Swords, you're going to be really logical in that energy, and you're going to put a plan together that really sells your point of view. So you have to look at this point of view from both your point of view, but from the point of view of the other people in your work as well, and of your bosses, and you need to present it in a way that works for everybody, because you need to put yourself in their situation too. What if you were your boss? How would the proposal look to them? But you're going to be able to pull that through, because in spiritual ascension, you've got balance, which is temperance in the present energy, and this is a very strange looking card for me in this deck. This is the only card in the deck that I don't love the way it looks. It's very interesting, but this is balance, number 14. So number 14 is temperance in most traditional decks, and what this says is always a melding, a balancing of everybody's needs. It's figuring out a way to meld all viewpoints, all aspects, and bring them into cohesion. Make something work out of small parts, right? So in your spirit and soul line, you're coming out of this Ace of Pentacles energy, which is still talking about, as we were talking about, that you're coming out of this really great energy. I think working from home, family, this has been a real boon for you. You've been able to heal any kind of conflict that may have existed in your family and your relationship, and this, you're really coming out of this in a really strong place, and now you're working on figuring out how to balance the new phase that's coming in as everything opens up again from being closed due to the coronavirus. And I think that once you figure out how to create that balance in your life, you're really going to be happy. You're going to move into this Prince of Cups energy. And Prince of Cups, we're talking in this line, in the spiritual line, and so this is just talking about being very emotional, being very appreciative, being very grateful for what you have. And I think that your heart is kind of going to be overflowing with joy, and you're going to be able to share that emotion with everybody. So let's get clarifiers on balance, on temperance, please. Spirit, what can you tell us about balance here for Sagittarius? Oh, I think this is the card I wanted. Two of Swords, yeah. So the Two of Swords in this deck is not the traditional Two of Swords where you're thinking about, we've got your head in the sand and you're not willing to make a decision. The Two of Swords in this deck, and this goes along with the Thoth deck, really talks about making that decision, and it talks about the peace that comes along after you've made a decision. So sometimes the hardest thing to do is to just make a decision, but then after you make a decision, regardless of what that decision is, it brings peace to you because you can move forward. And I think that that's clarifying this temperance card, is you're going to need to assess your situation, make a decision somehow, put it forward. That decision is going to really bring you peace. And you're going to just need to trust that you are making, that you have the ability to make the right decision. Let's get another clarifier on temperance, please. Yeah, and we got the Chariot again. So this decision, whatever this is, make sure that it is coming, that it is balancing your heart and mind, because you need to have both logic and emotions in balance so that you can use your will to move forward. So that's your advice here. You come up with a plan, make sure that it satisfies both the intellect and the emotions, and then you can use your will to move forward. And once you make a decision on how to move forward, it's going to bring you a lot of peace. Let's get this clarifier on the Prince of Cups for Sagittarius. What's the Prince of Cups talking about for Sagittarius, please? The Four of Wands, yes. Really great. So the Four of Wands, celebrations, family time, friends. So as we open back up, you really are just, wow, Sagittarius, this is the most beautiful spread of any of the spreads that I've done in the past few days. You have just really been able to take advantage of the change that all of society, that we've all been going through, and you've really done a great job of making the best of it and really honing in on the important aspects of life. You've really, you've just done an amazing job with that. I think, you've definitely spiritually are vibrating at a higher level. Let's get, and that Four of Wands, it's so great. This talks about celebrations and friends and family, and maybe even there's a marriage coming in soon. For some of you, I see that. I see like celebration, a summer wedding. Oh, so pretty. Know that, it's time. When you get the Four of Wands, you can celebrate, right? So lots of times it's kind of like a mini world card. You have achieved something great. You've accomplished something. You celebrate that accomplishment. Say like a marriage, you celebrate the marriage. But that's just the beginning. That's not the end. There's still more to the path that you need to do. There's still more work to be put in. So you get married, you have the wedding, great. That's the wedding. But now comes, you can't really rest on your laurels. It's not done. now comes the work in the relationship and the marriage and establishing a family and doing all of that. So the Four of Wands, while you'll have a lot to celebrate this summer, is also telling you that, you know, you still have some work to do. Let's get another clarifier on that. Four of Wands. Why the Four of Wands, please? Eight of Cups. So you're saying goodbye to anything that wasn't working for you. You're definitely going to find a way to integrate the lessons that you've learned during this down period that we've all been experiencing, and you're going to definitely find a way to get rid of all the things that didn't work before we had this down period, and figure out and take all the positives, all the things that did work. You're going to be able to meld all of that together and create a new life for yourself, basically, a new routine, a new way of working, a new way of taking care of your family. Just have a lot of positive activity happening, and a lot of activity, a lot of energy being expended in the next couple weeks. So this spread is for the next week or two, but I'm really getting a longer term feeling with this also. So while the next week or two is going to be the start of all this activity, it's definitely going to move into the summer. You're just going to have a really busy summer, Sagittarius. All right, what's the advice for Sagittarius in love and relationships? What's the advice for Sagittarius in love and relationships? Advice, please, for Sagittarius in love and relationships. The Sun. So in your love and relationships, just make sure to communicate. This is a lot of communication. This is a lot of healing. You did have that Judgment card in the present. So you're letting go of any preconceived ideas of how your relationship should be or how it isn't, and how it, this didn't go the way you wanted it to, or you disagree on this. You're letting all of that go. You're releasing judgment of yourself and of your partner, and you are healing and working together. So the Sun card is very much a working together, beautiful, collaborative card. Lots of healing. So I feel like whatever confusion you may have had in the past, you're moving beyond it, because you do have that Sun card, which is really, really nice. So your advice is just be this spreader of good cheer. Keep doing that. And also sometimes the Sun can also say that it's important to give your partner a little bit of space to do their own thing. So while in a relationship you want to be together all the time, the Sun card tells us that sometimes maybe your partner needs a little bit of alone time, and you should give your partner that alone time because they need it to shine. So I'm getting that for some of you. It's going to be important that you not take your partner's needs to have some time to themselves, or maybe to go out with their own friends separate from you. Don't take that personally. Okay? All right, advice in career. What advice do we have for Sagittarius in career? We keep getting the fives. The Five of Swords. Okay, what other advice do we have for Sagittarius in career? And the Seven of Swords. Okay, so I think it's really important right now that you stop thinking negatively about your job. I think that if you come up with a plan, you're going to be able to get what you want. It's really important that you think positively at this point in time, all right? Because you got the swords. The swords are just mental activity. They're all thoughts. So they're thoughts of defeating, and this is what happens when you keep churning negative thoughts in your mind. You go from the Five of Swords to the Seven of Swords. Eventually you get to the Ten of Swords if you just keep thinking badly about your situation. It's your challenge to be the Queen of Spring, Queen of Wands, which is where you're at, right? So take all this negativity, take whatever happened that was said to you, or whatever happened that really upset you, and stop dwelling on it, okay? Don't rehash it over and over in your mind. It's your challenge to be the Queen of Spring, the Queen of Wands, to be friendly, to be magnanimous, to put forth solutions. And as I said, don't think that your proposals are going to be turned down. Go into thinking that your boss and everyone around you has your best interests at heart, and they're going to want to support you, because I think you'll do best if you approach things from that positive viewpoint, instead of, oh, nothing ever works, it's not going to work, they're just going to say no. You already have a no, right? So the worst thing that can happen is that you'll have another no. But I think that if you approach your proposal in the right way, and turn it into a win-win proposal, this benefits me, this benefits you, this is how it benefits the both of us, I think you'll be surprised at the results and you'll get what you want. Okay, and what's the advice, soul spirit advice for Sagittarius, please? The Death card, nice, sign of Scorpio. All right, so you're in a transition phase right now, so this is very clear. You're definitely transitioning from the old way of living into the new way of living, and this is just super clear from your spread here. And go with it, right? Don't fight the change, because change is great. This change is going to, Queen of Discs, this change is going to really benefit your family, yourself, your health, your home. All these really good things are coming into focus. So just embrace the change and do all that you can to present your to make these changes happen in your life, right? We already talked about the career, but this is definitely confirmation that change is on the way for you. It's destined. So you're moving into a whole new way of life, a whole new way of living. You are really vibrating high, Sagittarius. You really are. And it's just really positive new cycle for you that you're moving into. Okay, let's get an oracle card, and then I think we're going to call it a day. Okay, I'm going to use this Mystical Shaman oracle deck, and then I'll just read the advice out of the book for you. So, let's see, what advice do we have, or what's the overall theme, overall thing to keep in mind for Sagittarius as Sagittarius moves into the next couple of weeks? What does Sagittarius need to be aware of as they move into the next couple of weeks? And you got the Beloved. Look how beautiful this card is. So beautiful. And it's a 5. Got a lot of 5s in this spread, I'll say. That's your challenge, isn't it? The 5s. All right, let me use this. I can put this here kind of close up so you can take a look at that card while I pull out the book. And see what they have so eloquently written about this beautiful card. So the essence of this card is, the Beloved is the recognition of spirit in another and moving towards spirit through the other. It is when the divine appears to us in the form of our child, our partner, our friend, and we experience being in love. As we grow, we start to recognize the Beloved in everyone, not confusing their personality with their divine nature. Accept the invitation to learn through the path of love. Expand your being through union with another. When you recognize the beloved in another, you call forth their highest and purest nature. Follow the path. And your advice is, be careful with romantic love, the kind of love you fall in and out of. Own all of the projections you have placed upon the person you are dreaming of. Remember that they are only mirroring back your own deep longings rather than revealing their true selves. If you fail to notice this, be prepared to walk through the fire of strong emotions once again. Okay, so for those of you with the, for some of you, this is definitely, as we talked about earlier, a marriage card. Relationships are definitely at the forefront here of this spread, right? So let me get back on track with the marriage one. So for some of you who are getting married, this is beautiful. This talks about the Sun card. We've talked about the Judgment card. This is about releasing judgments, not trying to make your partner into something that they're not, right? Releasing those kind of judgments and just being in love with the person that your partner is. And then the advice here is to really just take that to all situations in life. It's just really beautiful. And I think that, as we talked about earlier, you have that connecting to that Prince of Cups energy. So you're moving into just a really loving time period. Just a lot of, grateful, joyous, happy, loving experiences with your partner, with your family, with your chosen family, those closest to you. All right, Sagittarius, this is just a really beautiful spread. I hope you got something out of this, and I will see you next time.